Hey there, welcome back to Total Geek Live Baltimore Presents. I am Baltimore and I am here to bring you today the Secret Wars crossover event. This is the very first one back in 1984. It's 12 issues long. It kind of really started the whole crossover event for Marvel in earnest. And interestingly enough, it was actually tied to a toy line. Um, that was going to be coming out from Mattel. They were trying to come up with a way to get into the superhero franchise, and they talked with Marvel, and they were figuring out what would work best. And Jim Shooter, who wrote this event, actually was editor at large, I think, as well. They came up with this title as a way to showcase heroes and villains from the Marvel Universe. So this is a 12-issue miniseries, or maxi series actually, written by Jim Shooter with art by Mike Zeck. It's got a really super famous first issue cover, which was really awesome. And actually, a side note on it, the original version had Kitty Pryde in it, but at the time she was not part of the X-Men, so they had to erase her from the cover and take her out from the series. But this was a really, really cool event. I actually read this after it was after it had already been presented, but I did collect the toy line for sure. But it was actually pretty interesting. It takes place in a place called Battle World, which was a world created by the Beyonder, who is sort of an extra-dimensional super being, omnipotent, crazy, crazy powerful guy, and he brings various heroes and villains from Earth into Battle World, and if they win, they get their heart's desire. So he sets up the heroes and villains to attack each other and be the last one standing, so to speak. But it was a really, really fun event, and there's a lot of things that kind of happened from this. A lot of things kind of grew out of this. You had a lot more events moving forward almost every year, basically, for the next almost continual, basically, which was actually pretty, groundbreaking at the time. And I, sort of believe this was sort of a counterpart to the Crisis on Infinite Earths from DC. So I think this is sort of kind of like, okay, they have this, let's get something too. And I actually really, really enjoyed it. So you have the Avengers that are brought here, and they consist of Captain America, Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau version, Hawkeye, Iron Man, She-Hulk, Thor, and Wasp. And those are the Avengers that are here. Then you have the X-Men, which is Professor X, Cyclops, Storm, Nightcrawler, Rogue, Wolverine, and then Magneto is sort of with them, but then kind of goes away. And then also there's Lockheed, the dragon, Kitty's dragon, who's with them on this one. You also have the Fantastic Four, that's Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben that are there, and Spider-Man. So that's it for the heroes. So they have all of them there. You have a great big splash page with all of them there, which was so awesome. I loved that page. And then you have all the villains there, which include Dr. Octopus, Dr. Doom, Enchantress, Kang, Claw, Lizard, Ultron, the Wrecking Crew, Molecule Man, and then two new villains, Volcana and Titania, which are pretty important for one for Absorbing Man, who's also there. They end up hooking up, and actually kind of a fun relationship in a super villainy type of way. So this is interesting because they're set up on this battle world, and they have to fight each other, and they come up with their own, the bases that they actually kind of inhabit. The X-Men decide that they're not really going to go into this good versus bad thing. They're just going to go off on their own, kind of see what's going on. So they go to a different place, which is kind of pretty, standard for X-Men. Kind of just want to stay out of the way of that thing, but inevitably they're going to get pulled into it. Magneto goes off on his own, and then the villains are all in their own lair. So this is, quite a lengthy series. It does take place over a year. So interestingly enough, some of the things that happen within the series um, happen actually before the series is over. Remarkably, most notably, Spider-Man's black suit, while it makes the debut here, the reason he gets it here in Secret Wars, it actually appears in his regular comic before this. So you have readers who are reading it monthly, and then they're like, "Well, why does he have this? What's happening?" And you kind of had to realize that, oh, okay, well, in Secret Wars, which hasn't finished yet, this is the story for that. Um, and then one great introduction into this is Spider-Woman 2. That's Julia Carpenter. She makes an appearance here for the first time, and that's basically the reason why he designed his suit that way, because he really liked her version of her spider costume, and so he was subconsciously trying to recreate it. And of course, this is the symbiote suit, which will then soon become Venom at some point. So it's really kind of fun. There's a lot of battle. There's a lot of backstabbing and unexpected team ups. You have some interactions with Wasp and Magneto, which is a kind of interesting and strange. And she takes him down too. Like, Wasp is a bad chick. She's actually pretty cool. And the length of it. There's basically you have all these heroes and villains trying to come up with a way to win so they can get their heart's desire, get the prize the Beyonders, holding out for them. And you have Doctor Doom, who ends up, kind of defeating the Beyonder and getting that wish. And you kind of see him for the first time, really, without his mask, which is kind of a really interesting development for sure. But in true villainy fashion, your heart's desire doesn't always come like you hope it would or think that it's going to. And so there's, of course, a knocked out, big, drawn out fight. And then you have the alien healer, Shaji, who is having sort of a relationship with Colossus, who was at the time supposed to have a relationship with Kitty Pryde. So he's going to have to, break her heart, not for the first time. And when he ends up returning, but she sacrifices her life to save the heroes. So there's this tragic event that happens for that. So some of the other things that are really fascinating that come out of this event is Thing decides to stay on the battle world. He leaves the Fantastic Four for the first time and decides, you know what, I'm going to spend a certain amount of time in space, and all right, see ya. Which led to his miniseries, his series. And so She-Hulk joins the Fantastic Four, which I think is kind of a brilliant, interplay, a great substitute. And I really like Jennifer Walters as, she's She-Hulk. And I thought she had a great run in the Fantastic Four. I thought she was a great, chemistry with Johnny. She had a great relationship with Sue. There was, finally another female on the team that, they could have that kind of interaction. And it was really lovely and wonderful. And Spider-Man gets his costume, his infamous black suit costume, which was also very, very cool to see. It's always really, really fun. And so there's a lot of really great things. I do highly urge you to pick up the entire collection of it. It's around. You can find it pretty much anywhere. It's just 12 issues. It's by Jim Shooter. The art's Mike Zeck. It's very standard 80s artwork. Nothing outrageous, but very solid. So I really did enjoy it. And I think for the most part, this series was designed to sell toys. And you know what? Okay, yeah, it worked. I bought the toys. But it actually worked on a pretty a stronger level because it set up the foundations for future Marvel events, moving forward. Of course, you have basically a direct sequel in Secret Wars 2, which happens a year later. But basically, from this point forward, they're going to have, a Marvel event in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through the annuals or through an actual event comic or just running through the actual ongoing series. So I think leading coming out of Secret Wars, you have a great kind of blueprint and way to kind of bring together disparate teams or heroes into a cohesive kind of narrative, fighting comic. So I really like it. I think it's a lot of fun. I think the interactions are really fun and exciting, and you kind of get some really cool moments in there between all the heroes and villains. You get a lot of development. If you have 12 issues, you have certainly time to kind of delve into some characters you don't necessarily get to see a lot of. But it was so cool. I would highly recommend you picking this up. If you have read Secret Wars, what do you think about it? What were your favorite parts? Did you like the new suit for Spidey? Did it really kind of, wow you? Or were you just kind of like, oh, okay, because you kind of already knew what was happening? But let me know in the comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I want to hear back from you. Let me hear about your thoughts in Secret Wars. And I will come back to you soon with more Marvel comic events as I can get it out to you. So as always, it's all geek to us. See you soon.